On the episode 1863 of the Joe Rogan Experience, Mark Zuckerberg was the guest on the show. And I think it was a very interesting conversation. First of all, because I love listening to Joe, and it was very interesting to see how Zuckerberg will interact with him. And I gotta say, he got way better in public speaking and talking in front of an audience and in front of a microphone. But I think that the most interesting things that I heard during the conversations were regarding the future of social media, virtual reality, and augmented reality. And I think a lot of the insightful visions that Zuckerberg shared will be relevant for you as a designer. So I wanted to share with you some of my thoughts and what might be the future of design after what I've heard from Zuckerberg on this podcast. In the first part of the conversation, they talked more about the new Oculus that is going to be released in October. And they started talking about the Metaverse and the virtual reality worlds, all the gaming around it. And the second part of this, so to say, part of the conversation was very interesting because they started talking about the utility of these gadgets and this gear and these tools, and how, for example, in the future we'll have these physical rooms, physical meetings, like in the virtual world. There are already some companies out there, like I can think about Wild World, where Mariana Cabugueira, recurrent guest on our podcast, moved to. She was working at Hadid, and now she moved to this company with which they built metaverse spaces, metaverse world, where you can go into as a user, and it's really interesting. Because I think that this kind of design will be fitting way better certain architects, for example, like Mariana, which are educated in doing these extremely visionary projects and not having the constraints of the physical world and not having the limitations of budgets or simple statics that you have to foresee in the physical realm. You can go in the metaverse and do crazy stuff, and it will be amazing, and people will be happy. I think that the aesthetics of this kind of metaverse world will stay a little bit more cartoonish, a little bit more unrealistic, not because they cannot get it to a level that it's ultra realistic, but I think that our brains are at high risk if you see something extremely weird in an extremely realistic way. So because, as I said, you won't have limitations to aesthetic. So theoretically, and they were talking about how you could do a meeting with your colleagues on Zoom, instead of being like in these little boxes that you see. You will be immersed on Mars or in a volcano or having your office in the jungle. Yeah, you'll just have this virtual reality which is limitless. It's gonna be a little bit like a simulation or Matrix, maybe. I don't know to which level it's gonna get, but yeah, that was certainly some topic. So, for example, the insightful information out of this is that if you have an architecture company, or if you're starting to start your own architecture company, or if you're still a student, now is the time to get yourself into that direction, because in my opinion, in the future, at least one department, or if not the majority of the income of revenue of a design office for architecture or for interior design will be on digital form, because this is coming. This is now at the beginning, and now is the time to move in this direction. You have the advantage that if you're not a big firm cannot take easily these decisions. Bigger organization, a lot of responsibility, a lot of people. If you're somebody emerging, smaller, it's better to move in that direction because you're more flexible. Take that decision even if it's hard. And it's also an unexplored field. So there is already competition, but it won't be at the level of competing with classic architectural offices. I think also the clients for these kind of spaces will be more open to new ideas, for the simple fact that you don't have the physical responsibility of building something, and so they won't see it as such a big change, big investment. And I don't think that the prices of this physical worlds and physical rooms will be as high as for a real one. So this is something that's going to be really interesting. So I think Zuckerberg confirmed this direction into that digital world. This spaces that you will be able to possess or to utilize, I think they will need some sort of parametric side of them. So let's say if you buy a podcasting studio that it's in a digital form where I can meet with my guests through a headset and feel like if we're in the same room, although they sit on the other side of the world, you will be able to set up the size of the studio, the materials of the studio, the lighting, and maybe if then I want to do the Creative Insider conference, I could set up the same room to be way bigger with way more chairs. So I think this will be part of the design tasks for the future, to collaborate between designers and people that are more involved into the coding part, and create these objects, these assets that can be personalized by the user in every single aspect they want to. And then there will be for sure like digital assets to fill the room with. It will be like a video game. You'll be buying tables, libraries, lamps. We have this already in some form. For example, the ArcViz people know that they sometimes buy digital objects to insert into their ArcViz images or ArcViz videos. So it will be something similar, but I think that the aesthetics, as I said, will be completely different. And then you'll have your avatar, which will be like your sort of projection into the virtual world, your character. And there you have different sort of skins, like different objects you can wear, different gadgets, and all these things will need to be designed. There will be different platforms. There will be competition. At some point, the headset to joining the virtual reality will be a design object itself, because I'm pretty sure that there are some Chinese companies that are doing something similar. Competitors, probably at some point, Tesla, when they sell driving, they will create something that you can immerse yourself in a virtual reality while you're being driven around by your car. So I think this will be some very disruptive future, and all these things will be limitless in the realm of imagination. Then after this topic, they talked a lot about augmented reality, which is also a very interesting topic. Zuckerberg was talking that in 5 to 6 years, we'll have some form of glasses that can project different objects into your real environment. They won't be available en masse. They will be extremely expensive and used, and whether by very wealthy people or by probably military. And then it will take a while before it gets accessible to everyone. He was saying that this probably will disrupt also our physical surrounding. We won't need to produce as many physical objects as we do nowadays, which I think it's a good news, again, if we want to stay on the positive side of the conversation, for the consummation that we're generating, the pollution for the planet. So I think having the need to produce the objects that are not needed will be good. He was making the example, if you want to play poker with your friends and you use the augmented reality glasses, you will probably not have physical cards, but you will have cards that, and of course this is not going to be only glasses, you'll have also some other parts on your body that the computer will recognize, so you will be able to physically move then the digital object. So in the case of cards, you're able to pick up the card, mix the deck and stuff like that. I guess also books, like, because for the people who likes physical books, they like the physical books because you can touch them, you can read them, you can underline them. And if they give you like a digital asset that is 3D and it feels like having a book, there's also something that's going to change. I think in general our spaces will get smaller, will get more set up to have room to move around with our gear, that it will be connecting us whether to some form of virtual reality or having just the possibility to project the right objects. Of course, there will be objects that will be still needed, like, for example, chair, table, bed, bathroom, all these things that are extremely needed. Kitchen, maybe a pen won't be a pen. You'll just have some digital notebook. You'll write with your digital pen. So it will be more like having a computer that's on you and not sitting on a computer. And this computer will be way more powerful because we'll be able to project these objects. And everything that I'm saying will need to be designed, and there will be a new technology, and there will be companies that won't shift quick enough. So if you anticipate this, if you stay into this direction, you will be advantage to some companies that will stay on a more traditional business approach. And I think it's going to be great because the business of the designers, it will be something like a closed circle. It will be ironically like back in the earlier stages of human history where there were like craftsmen, now digital artists and digital designers will create these objects that they won't need to be produced by third parties and resold, but they will create them and sell them in first place. So also it will be a scalable business. It won't be a service anymore. And I guess this will change completely the condition of designers. So these are my thoughts about this podcast of Zuckerberg and Joe Rogan. I suggest you, the episode number is 1863. I think it's very fun also because they make some jokes, as they said, and I think they have taught Zuckerberg how to speak in public without looking like a robot. So yeah, these are my opinions. Let me know what is your opinion on the metaverse, the future of design, the future of virtual reality. And if you like our podcast, if you like our videos, make sure to subscribe. And you can watch, for example, some of our other videos that will appear somewhere on the screen. So thank you very much for the support. Have a good one.